Billy the Kid, the name alone fires the imagination. A teenage outlaw with a quick draw and a crooked grin, he became a legend of the Wild West before he was old enough to drink. Some say he was a ruthless killer. Others claim he was a misunderstood kid fighting to survive in a lawless land. Either way, his story blurs the line between myth and man, a ghost riding through history, six-shooter in hand and freedom in his heart. But was Billy the Kid truly a ruthless ghost in the shadows at night that the law enforcement couldn't capture or come close enough to? Like, share and subscribe. Sit down and relax as we dive into this exciting story. Billy the Kid, the last ride of the frontier. The year was 1859, and the American frontier was still a raw scar stretching westward, a place where names were earned with lead and legend. In a poor Irish tenement in New York City, Henry McCarty was born to Catherine McCarty, a widow trying to carve out a better life. When she fell sick, she took her two boys west to Kansas, then farther still to the rough mining towns of New Mexico Territory. She hoped the desert air would heal her lungs. It didn't. When Catherine died of tuberculosis in 1874, her 14-year-old son was left alone in a land that rewarded neither kindness nor weakness. Henry tried to survive honestly washing dishes, tending horses, but when a man stole from him, he stole back. The sheriff threw him in jail, and the boy escaped through the chimney. That was the moment he became someone else. William H. Bonney, Billy the Kid. The Lincoln County War. New Mexico was simmering not just from the sun, but from greed. The county's economy was controlled by two powerful merchants, Lawrence Murphy and James Dolan, who ran a monopoly out of their general store in Lincoln. When an English rancher named John Tustell arrived, he brought competition and decency to the territory. He hired Billy as a ranch hand, treating him not as an outlaw, but as a young man worth trusting. In February 1878, Tustell was ambushed and shot dead by Murphy's men, protected by the corrupt Sheriff William Brady. Billy swore he'd see justice done not by the courts, but by the gun. With a group of ranch hands and idealists known as the Regulators, Billy hunted Tustell's killers. They killed Sheriff Brady in the street, ambushed posses, and for a few blood-soaked months, the open plains of Lincoln County became a war zone. Smoke from burning ranches hung like ghosts over the mesquite trees. Billy wasn't just reckless, he was smart. He could ride through gunfire, charm a room, and vanish into the desert before sunrise. Newspapers began to call him the Kid, painting him as both hero and outlaw, Robin Hood and killer. And Billy. He leaned into it. If the world wanted an outlaw, he'd give them one. But by the summer of 1878, the war was lost. The Regulators scattered or were killed. Billy was still standing, still smiling, but now he carried a bounty and a death sentence in his shadow. The outlaw years. In the years that followed, Billy roamed the territory rustling cattle, gambling, and dodging posses. Yet, by many accounts, he was courteous, even kind. He spoke fluent Spanish, danced at village fiestas, and was beloved by the Mexican communities that sheltered him. To them, El Chivato the Kid was no villain. He was a folk hero standing up to corrupt men in high places. Still, the law didn't care for charm. In 1880, Sheriff Pat Garrett, once Billy's acquaintance, took up the badge and the hunt. Garrett was cool, methodical, and he knew Billy's tricks. By December, he cornered the Kid and his gang at Stinking Springs. After a tense standoff, Billy surrendered. At 21, Billy the Kid was sentenced to death by hanging for the murder of Sheriff Brady. But he wasn't finished yet. The Great Escape. April 28, 1881, Lincoln County Courthouse. Billy, shackled and watched by two guards, asked to be escorted to the outhouse. On the way back, he overpowered Deputy James Bell, shot him with his own revolver, and then killed Deputy Bob Ollinger with Ollinger's own shotgun. The blasts echoed through Lincoln as townsfolk hid behind doors. Billy walked to the balcony, grinning down at the street. "Here's your gun back, Bob," he shouted and fired again. Then he mounted a horse and vanished into the desert dust, the sun sinking behind him like a curtain closing on an act. For months, rumors placed him everywhere: Texas, Mexico, Arizona, but he stayed close to what he knew best: Fort Sumner, where his friends lived, and where his fate waited. The end of the Kid. July 14th, 1881, a hot, breathless night. Garrett was tipped off, crept into Fort Sumner. Billy entered the darkened room, unarmed, calling softly in Spanish, "Quienes, quienes." Garrett fired. One shot. The Kid fell dead. He was 21 years old, with at least 8 men claimed to his gun and 1,000 stories claimed to his name. The legend. The newspapers mourned and mythologized him all at once: the smiling killer, the boy bandit, the ghost of the frontier. Some swore Garrett killed the wrong man. Others claimed Billy lived on under a new name, fading into the folds of the West that birthed him. But the truth, as always, is somewhere between the dust and the dawn. Billy the Kid wasn't the devil they painted, nor the saint the ballads sang of. He was the last flicker of a dying age when justice was a six-shooter, when a boy could become a legend, and when the West itself was still wild enough to believe it. Thanks for watching, and hope you all enjoyed this amazing historical video. If you want more interesting stories like this, please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to my channel.